Hello and greetings. Many blessings to you all, to those who are there to watch live and those who see it later. May you all have a very, very peaceful time ahead and no anger whatsoever within yourself and around yourself. I'm talking today, although it might look that I'm in our meditation hall, I'm actually in the office because internet is quite bad today. So I took refuge here in the office and just put a background of our meditation hall. I would suggest that before we really start to talk about today's topic, and before I start reading out the Sutta, we would just for a few minutes meditate. Namasakan ven surati. I feel blessed that you are here with us. And greetings to everybody else. So just close your eyes, sit upright, and let go of every tension that you might have. Tension within the belly, within the chest. Relax your shoulders. Breathe in and out deeply, soft and soothing. Relax your chin, your cheeks, and your eyes, your forehead, your neck. Check if there is any tension. And all the rush and speed that you might feel within you. Relax by breathing deep and smoothly in and out. And there's just that, the smooth and soothing in and out flow of the breath. Everything else you do not attend to anything but your breath. And you observe as it is coming into your body, filling your lungs with fresh air. Breathing out, relaxing your shoulders and your chest. Breathing in, it refreshes us. It gives us new vitality, like sparkling. And we do not attend to anything else but the breath. There might be sounds. There are certainly sounds you hear because I'm speaking. There might be hearing. There might be thoughts. Sometimes we would acknowledge them and name them as thinking or hearing, and now we don't. We take the total freedom not to attend to anything else but the breath. Any stress, any speed, any internal rush or hurry, any anger, just disappears by soothing it over. By relaxing despite of it. And you just keep breathing, soothing. Now I would ask you to pay a bit attention to what I shall say. If you go too deep into the soothing of the breath, then you might not understand what is being said. So, as announced, I would like to speak about the Sutta Anguttara Nikaya in the book of the Seven. And there it is the Sutta number 64, and it is called Anger. And I'm going to read the entire Sutta with the verses, and that almost would say it all, because it's a very, well, it's a comprehensive Sutta, and afterwards there might still be time to reflect a little bit on what I had just read out. So I greet everyone who came a little bit late, and I hope the internet is stable. I'm seeing here some difficulties, but well, we'll see. So lean back or sit straight, breathe, and listen. Anguttara Nikaya 7.64 Anger, in the translation of Bhikkhu Bodhi. Bhikkhus, there are these 7 things that are gratifying and advantageous to an enemy that come upon an angry man or woman. What 7? Here, bhikkhus, an enemy wishes for an enemy. May he be ugly. For what reason? An enemy does not delight in the beauty of an enemy. When an angry person is overcome and oppressed by anger, though he may be well bathed, well anointed, well trimmed, the hair and beard, dressed in white clothes, still he is ugly. This is the first thing, gratifying and advantageous to the enemy that comes upon an angry man or woman. Again, an enemy wishes for an enemy. May he sleep badly. For what reason? An enemy does not delight when an enemy sleeps well. When an angry person is overcome and oppressed by anger, though he may sleep on a couch spread with rugs, blankets, and covers, with an excellent covering of antelope hide, with a canopy and red bolsters at both ends, still he sleeps badly. This is the second thing, gratifying and advantageous to an enemy that comes upon an angry man or a woman. Again, an enemy wishes for an enemy. May he not succeed. For what reason? An enemy does not delight in the success of an enemy. When an angry person is overcome and oppressed by anger, if he gets what is harmful, he thinks, I have gotten what is beneficial. And if he gets what is beneficial, he thinks, I have gotten what is harmful. When overcome by anger, he gets these things that are diametrically opposed. They lead to his harm and suffering for a long time. This is a third thing, gratifying and advantageous to an enemy that comes upon an angry man or woman. Again, an enemy wishes for an enemy, may he not be wealthy. For what reason? An enemy does not delight in the wealth of an enemy. When an angry person is overcome and oppressed by anger, kings appropriate for the royal treasury any wealth that he has acquired by any energetic striving, amassed by strength of his arms, earned by the sweat of his brow, righteous wealth, righteously gained. This is the fourth thing, gratifying and advantageous to an enemy that comes upon an angry man or woman. Again, an enemy wishes for an enemy, may he not be famous. For what reason? An enemy does not delight in the fame of an enemy. When an angry person is overcome and oppressed by anger, he loses whatever fame he had acquired through heedfulness. This is the fifth thing, gratifying and advantageous to an enemy that comes upon an angry man or woman. Again, an enemy wishes for an enemy, may he have no friends. For what reason? An enemy does not delight in an enemy having friends. When an angry person is overcome and oppressed by anger, his friends and companions, relatives, and family members avoid him from afar. This is the sixth thing, gratifying and advantageous to an enemy that comes upon an angry man or woman. Again, an enemy wishes for an enemy with the break-up of the body after death. May he be reborn in a plane of misery, in a bad destination, in the lower world, even in hell. For what reason? An enemy does not delight in an enemy's going to a good destination. When an angry person is overcome and oppressed by anger, he engages in misconduct by body, speech, and mind. As a consequence, still overcome by anger, with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the plane of misery, in a bad destination, in the lower world. This is the seventh thing, gratifying and advantageous to an enemy that comes upon an angry man or woman. These are the seven things, gratifying and advantageous to an enemy that comes upon an angry man or woman. And the Buddha puts in verses, the angry person is ugly. He sleeps badly. Having gained some benefits, he takes it to be harmful. The angry person, overcome by anger, having slain by body and speech, incurs the loss of wealth. Maddened by anger, he acquires a bad reputation. His relatives, friends, and loved ones avoid the angry person. Anger is a cause of harm. Anger stirs up mental turmoil. People do not recognize the peril that has arisen from within. The angry person doesn't know the good. The angry person doesn't see the Dhamma. There's just blindness and dense gloom when anger overcomes a person. When an angry person causes damage, whether easily or with difficulty later, when the anger has vanished, he's tormented as if burned by fire. He shows recalcitrance as a fire does a smoky crest. When his anger spreads outward, people become angry on his account. He has no shame or fear of wrong. His speech is not respectful. One overcome by anger has no island of safety at all. I will tell you about the deeds that produce torment. Listen to them as they are, remote from those that are righteous. An angry person slays his father. An angry person slays his mother. An angry person slays a Brahmin. An angry person slays a worldling. The angry worldling slays his mother. The good woman who gave him life. The one by whom he was nurtured and who showed him this world. Those beings, like oneself, each hold their self most dear. Yet those who are angry kill themselves in various ways when they are distraught about diverse matters. Some kill themselves with a sword. Some who are distraught swallow poison. Some hang themselves with a rope. Some jump into a mountain gorge. Deeds that involve destroying growth and deeds that cause their own death. When doing such deeds, they do not know that defeat is born of anger. Thus, death's snare hidden in the heart has taken the form of anger. One should cut it off by self-control, wisdom, energy, and right view. The wise person should eradicate this one unwholesome quality. In such a way, one should train the Dhamma. Do not yield to recalcitrance. Free from anger, the misery gone, free from delusion, no longer avid, tamed, having abandoned anger, the taintless ones attain Nibbana. So, this is our sutta. And as often when we are discussing suttas and I read them out, we go back to the beginning and start talking of it. When you have questions already about what has been said, please put them in the chat. And I choose this sutta for today because I feel there's so much anger around, and I spoke with a person who in fact had the same idea as it is outlined here, wanted to kill themselves. And I told that person, please put that anger away. Don't have so much anger towards yourself, so much so that you do want to harm yourself. I do hope that I have been successful, but also there are so many other things in people that we can notice that make ourselves angry, that we ourselves notice within ourselves being angry, the world feels, I don't know how it is for you, but for me, the world feels kind of angry. So when we go to the beginning, back to the beginning of this sutta, we read or we hear that an enemy wishes for an enemy all the worst, all the bad things. Actually, those things that one doesn't want for oneself. But when I remember times when I was younger and more prone to anger and anger outbursts than I'm now, not that I have overcome anger, totally not, but I can deal with it much better in a way that I don't have to give in to it. And I rarely get carried away by it. I of course have to acknowledge that it is there. So I remember having been a very, very angry person when I was much younger. I loved to smash plates. I loved to slam doors and give others the guilt trip, and not so much yelling, yeah, but expressing anger in very aggressive ways. And so here it is written, an enemy wishes for an enemy. What is an enemy? An enemy is someone whom we don't want, who we are angry at. I think this is crucial. We are aggressive and angry, so we have a lot of dosa, a lot of aversion for that enemy. By having those feelings, any other person can become an enemy. When I'm angry, I remember very well, even my friends became enemies because I was angry. So when I'm angry, I'm making myself an enemy for myself and an enemy for others. So that kind of turns around then. When I make enemies out of other people through my anger, then the other one who has become my enemy sees me in turn as their enemy and would wish the same, probably, that I would wish for them. So when I go ahead and wish somebody, oh, may you be ugly, I don't like you, and I might see that person really as ugly, because I don't like that person anymore. And when I said those words, I intentionally put my face, I made faces of that feeling of anger. When you say, oh, I wish you would be ugly. And look at that face. Now it's ugly. Because there is that wish within me. I wish somebody else to be ugly and make myself ugly in the same way at the same time. We may wish that our enemies sleep bad. But who in turn, who turns around at night and cannot sleep and and thinks, I should have said this. And then when she said that, I should have said this. And then I should have just punched her and things like that. The angry person is in bed, turning around and having thoughts recurring, making them a hard time to sleep. So yes, even if we think we give it to the other person, it's really, we give it to ourselves. Let's see here, next paragraph. May he not succeed. When we wish for somebody not to succeed, but we want to succeed, the Buddha says here, we distort things. We are taking the things diametrically opposed to what they are. And of course, when there are two enemies, two persons, two people angry, they give each other hard times. And then you give a punch, a verbal punch or whatever to that other person, I think, I have given that person now some real good. That was tough. And you have said something really bad and you think it was really good and you're happy about that ugly thing that you just said to that person. And when somebody says, oh, come and give in and don't be so, so when the wholesomeness comes, you can't take it because your mind is so distorted by anger that there's just no way that you can take the good, the wholesomeness for wholesome, and that you can see the unwholesomeness as unwholesomeness. So you wouldn't wish them wealth. Now we don't have the kings who are taking people's monies. Well, at least not in Germany, but there are countries. But when you start I think now it's not the kings, now it's the lawyers. When you have a lot of wealth and are angry and have an enemy, and that enemy angers you, then it's very easy that you start a legal fight. And what happens when you start a legal fight? It's getting expensive. Lawyers can be very expensive. So what the kings have done in earlier days, when they sized your wealth or the person's wealth, now it goes to the lawyers. In the end, if you quarrel with somebody in a legal fight, there is no winner. So again, may he not be famous, one could wish. And I think if you happen to be famous, and have an enemy, I just noticed in internet when I was reading a newspaper in internet, that there was a Hollywood actor, a very famous, and his wife divorcing. I didn't know what they said, but they had legal fights, and it was just probably very, very terrible. And so when you are famous, it's very bad to have enemies, because everybody else will know what kind of stupid brat you are. Because it's going all around. And when you're not famous, you will lose your fame in an instant. Because you are an angry person, and angry people fall down, fall apart. And there might be plenty of other angry people who for a while join in, but in the end, it's a very bad fame that you gain when you have anger. So, and also there I saw in internet that one person, I forgot the name, an American, I don't know if that was a newspaper, but he said that the Sandy Hook shooting was not real, and now he has to, he spread a lot of anger in the internet, and now he has to pay tons of money. And if we wish that the angry person, that our enemy may not have friends, that will come true for us also. When we are angry and talk bad about that other person that has become our enemy, people start to turn away from us because they don't want to hear the bad talking that we would do, because they understand that if they would turn around, you would talk bad about them as you do about the other person. So an angry person doesn't have many friends. He might wish that for the other person, for the enemy, but sure, enough, sooner or later, that person who wishes this will end up without friends equally. And then the last thing, with the breakup of the body after death, may he be reborn in a plane of misery, in a bad destination, in a lower world, in hell. So when we read it, this sounds kind of, I wouldn't think that, I wouldn't want that, I wouldn't whatever. But how quick is it said? Like, go to hell, or to hell with that, said in anger. So being an angry person, saying things like that, might just as well lead us who are angry into the same direction. And here it is said, the angry person is ugly and sleeps badly. And that refers to any enemy, because every enemy in this world who is the enemy of somebody or feels as an enemy of somebody would have to deal with anger. So there are some. Buddha-ruchi says, I'm pretty good at recognizing my anger and not acting out on it, but often I experience a sinking feeling from, for example, jealousy or envy, which are, I think, akin to anger. And I experience more direct mental anger. I can see it, I can try to work on it, but I do not always succeed. Loving kindness helps a lot. What other antidotes can we deploy? So the last question first, what other antidotes can we deploy? The first thing, kind of your medication kit that you can always bring with you is Kanti Parami, patience. If you are in anger, there is no way you can apply metta, loving kindness, straight away. You might need to use some patience. We get that patience by breathing in and breathing out, and knowing that we are breathing. And we can train ourselves in any emotional uproar to go to the breath. So when we feel there is some mental stress, like anger, jealousy, or envy, or something like that, first thing, breath. That is why it's so important to train it all the time, you know? In the meantime, so when you're not angry or not that angry, you can sit in meditation and train yourself to go and develop some sort of stillness of the heart, of the mind. And you can train that the mind and the heart turns towards loving kindness and into that love. But loving kindness is the direct opposite. So when there is anger, when the anger is actually boiling, there is no way that you can apply metta. So breathing, holding on for a moment with sati, becoming aware, this is unwholesome. Here I must stop. So the first thing, I think, we need an alarm for unwholesome states of mind, that we really know this is unwholesome. What I'm about to do, to say, to think is unwholesome. And this alarm is trained by sati. When there is awareness of what we are thinking, of what we are doing, and how we are feeling, then we know. And when we know, oftentimes we can, with a little bit of breathing, then reduce the power of those unwholesome emotions. And that is no difference between jealousy, envy, anger, and so they are all rooted in our greed, hatred, and delusion, or if you want to say in Pali, lobha, dosa, and moha. These three are the sources of all our problems, of all our unwholesome behavior. Often we think and we say we don't want to be angry, we don't want to be jealous or envious. But something deep within us still wants it. As I said earlier, when I was young, I wanted to be angry. I wanted to slam doors and let the person I had to deal with to know I am angry. Not because that other person made me angry, but I wanted to express that I didn't need to have to do anything with the person that had to deal with me in that moment. So we need to train ourselves to look closely to what we are doing and thinking and feeling. That is what we train in meditation, to understand what we are doing, and that we do by observing the body as a body, the mind, the feelings as the feelings, the heart as the heart, or mind as mind, depending on what translation for chitta you choose, and phenomena as phenomena, or dhamma as dhamma, depending on what translation you choose. So being aware is crucial in dealing with anger and all unwholesome states of mind. This unwholesomeness can, like a huge wave, overwhelm us when we do not have sati. So this is the first antidote. It's not really an antidote, but it's the first thing that we can train to be aware of what we do in body, speech, and mind, and what we feel. Knowing this, knowing ourselves a bit better, understanding our emotions a little bit better, then it is still very, very important to train Kanti Parami to as far as possible. I'm not saying to Upeka, I'm saying to Kanti Parami that we are able to bearing up with things. And that can happen in 2, 3, 5 breaths. When we are standing there and somebody's yelling at us, you can feel the ground when you stand, or you can feel where you sit. And you can know your breath and go to the breath. You can know then afterwards, after you have taken some deep breath in and out, you can go to the hearing and acknowledge there is some hearing going on. Don't go to the yelling. Don't go to the words that are said. It's only hearing. 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 And then again, some breath. And that gives you time to then even go as far, although it is very difficult, to have something like loving kindness for the person you are angry at or who's angry at you. And with a lot of practice, really, it is possible not to react out of anger anymore. Or only then when we really want it. And it is then also possible to understand, now I want to be angry and I want to harm somebody, and that will cause so much harm to myself that I take some deep breaths and let go of this idea. Are there any other questions in regards to that? I think it's pretty straightforward, actually. So I repeat again, this was from the Anguttara Nikaya in the book of the 7th, Sutta number 64, in the English version in the translation of Bhikkhu Bodhi. In the German translation, I think it's another number, 60 maybe, or not the same number. Buddharuchi, as you're already writing, I wanted to know, we were talking about your friend who is not well. Did you tell him what I said? Was that beneficial for him? I hope so. And again, I would like to extend my really, really heartfelt well wishes for that person, and also send blessings and hope that this letting go for this person will be possible. And there's certainly also some letting go of the anger to do. So here in this sutta, the Buddha recommends, and with this I wrap up, that thank you for the information, Buddha Ruchi. Appreciate. So we have a hidden snare in our hearts, which is anger, which has taken the form of anger. And we really should cut it off. Pahana, we should let go of it by self-control, wisdom, energy, and right view. So these, if you remember Buddharuchi and everybody else, these are also things you can do. You have some sort of self-control, which is developed by sati. So wisdom arises when you have sati and know what you are doing, what you are feeling, and what you are thinking. You develop a kind of wisdom that has nothing to do with knowing some texts or so. So this is a wisdom, a direct knowledge of unwholesome states and wholesome states that allows you with energy then to let go of all unwholesome and evil mental states. So, if there is not another question, I would close the talk for today. And I wanted to tell you, one of those people who commonly are here in the chat is now with us in the monastery. So I'm quite happy about that. But she's meditating now, so she didn't come today. Otherwise, she would have been sitting maybe next to me. But yeah. Blessings to you, blessings to your family and friends. Be well all. Bye bye.